when I'm speaking to people and we kind of we dive deep into matters, into problems, many of them say, well, I'm so tired and exhausted because I am trying this, I'm trying that, I'm trying naturopathy, Ayurveda, I am trying fermented foods, I am trying meditation, etc., etc., but I cannot cope with life. I lack energies. I lack the focus. I lack a clear-cut intention, a clear-cut plan making. I mean, life is kind of going on. Yeah, I have healed some symptoms. I have eased down some symptoms, but that is not just what I am looking for. You would need today a much more powerful and adapted for the modern times method that is more centered on the problematics, on the problems on the health problems that people are having in nowadays world, which are very different from ancient world. Hello there, friends and guardians of balancing wannabe. Thank you for joining me in this presentational video, in this signature talk. And I am Eduardo. The name is Italian. I'm from Italy. I say that because I apologize in advance if my grammar is not perfect. English is not my first language, but I am learning quite well, I think. But let me know if something is unclear, and thank you very much for taking this step, maybe for your deep healing. If you are here, probably you are suffering from some difficulties in life, speaking about health in general. And I can tell to you that this is so common today, and it is also been my experience. And in this video, my intention is not just to give you an overview, broad and general overview of my programs, Essential Wholeness programs, but also to speak to you about my experience. So first, I want to say that I do not have a prepared talk, and I am recording from my cell phone. I hope that you can hear me. I will double check the video. I also say to you that I'm sorry for my backgrounds and that my cats can arrive and meow meow, so please be patient. Okay, so getting down to us, I speak with so many people, and I have spoken with so many people. I see that nowadays many people are seeking for some alternatives to classic allopathic medicine. I say quote-unquote classic because allopathic medicine, which is the Western style of medicine, of healing, has become classic in the last century. Before that, it wasn't classic, of course. So it depends on how we look at things, I suppose. When I'm speaking to people and we kind of we dive deep into matters, into problems, many of them say, well, I'm so tired and exhausted because I am trying this, I'm trying that, I'm trying naturopathy, Ayurveda, I am trying fermented foods, I am trying meditation, etc., etc., but I cannot cope with life. I lack energies. I lack the focus. I lack a clear-cut intention, a clear-cut plan making. I mean, life is kind of going on. Yeah, I have healed some symptoms. I have eased down some symptoms, but that is not just what I am looking for. I mean, of course, we all want to be symptoms free. Is that possible? I can give you a brief spoiler. It's not possible, but what is possible is to be free of chronic pain, is be free of tiredness, fatigue, insomnia, having trouble concentrating. If you have ADD, ADHD, I am an autistic child. I am born as an autistic child, and still I am today to a degree. So you can, if you have that, maybe you too are an autistic child, even if you are in your 70s. I recently had an interview with a colleague of mine that I love so much and I salute. She is not only a great healer, but also a great businesswoman. And she is my marketing coach. Her name is Eva. Eva is the Italian version. Eva Venari. And I interviewed her in the last month. The interview is still not online, but it will be online in a while. And she told me that she discovered that she was an autistic child when she was in her late 40s, I think. I don't recall very well. But now she is in their 50s. So yeah, and she actually told me that many people are finding this later in life. I was born in 1988. I'm sorry, I'm not so good in pronouncing long numbers in English. 1988. So in the 80s and 90s, I mean, autistic syndrome was not that common. It was common, but it was not that known. My father was a doctor and a chief doctor, but still to him I was just a special child, very intelligent child. And I had all the symptoms. I tell you this because the methodology I use has been crafted on myself. I have been trying to get out, to exit from this state since my childhood. Sorry, there are also some flies and mosquitoes. It is hot here. And what I preach is what I teach now. That's it. I didn't want to say that. I wanted to say that what I share is what I wear. Okay, this is what I wanted to say. Sorry again. That does mean that I share what has helped me. So this is important for you because how are you going to find your natural and right health? It is an important question nowadays. Why is it an important question nowadays? Why don't we just go to a naturopath, which I, of course, respect very much? Well, I have studied natural medicine, and I can say to you that natural medicine is great, and I say to you that the principles behind natural medicine are so brilliant, and we need to keep those principles on. For example, one principle is contrary to the allopathic world. The natural medicine sees the body as a whole. It's not specialized in one single organ, which is very good for example, surgeries, but not very good for other kind of healing. Another principle is that there is no such thing as body and mind, but there is a unique phenomenon, which is a body-mind. We have a body-mind, and in fact, natural medicine. And for natural medicine, I in particular studied shamanic medicine for what pertains the psychological aspects, not that they are divided, of course, and the tribal people healing ailments for what pertains to physical aspects. So these are very interesting to me, but still they are not enough today. This is the point I'm trying to make. They have developed in a very natural world. I mean, until 100 years ago, the world was kind of natural. The air we used to breathe was natural. It did not contain these amounts of lead or any other toxic metals actually that we are breathing today because of the gasoline that we use in 80s and 90s, etc., all the industrial fumes, the toxic wastes that we are dumping into the ocean. I have recently had 2 clients. I call my clients guardians of balancing, that have been followed by a very, very important and very well known. He is a medical doctor, but actually he works as a nutritionist, one of the most known in Italy. Really, I mean, everybody knows him, and he made them eat fish, large amounts of fish. Why is that? Because, well, he got a theory that I am not going to tell because otherwise you will know who I am talking about. But mainly we can synthesize it like that. We can synthesize it in normally people that lives near the sea, and as you can know, Italy is really a peninsula, so we have a lot of fish and a lot of sea have developed in their history eating large amount of fish. That's just, go by itself. It's a no-brainer, we can say. But actually, what even this very important nutritionist does not take into consideration is that nowadays the ocean is so filled with mercury, so much filled with mercury, that the fish is becoming poisonous. It is becoming dangerous. So both of them, when I tested their hairs, they showed very, very high amounts of mercury. And mercury is a very serious toxic metal. In the past, in the 1800 and years after, there were the famous Mad Hatters. I don't know if you know this fact, this historical fact. The Mad Hatters were the workers that built, the hats, and they used a lot of mercury. They used to touch a lot of mercury, and most of them went crazy. Mercury is very much related to psychiatric conditions. It is a serious topic. So, same goes with aluminum. I mean, it's not related to psychiatric problems. It's mainly related to, ADD, ADHD, digestion problems, brain fog, tiredness, etc., etc. Lead is very much related to violent behaviors. So, how do we know that? We know that because after my years passed in trying to finding a solution for myself, I have gone through a lot of difficulties in life after, apart from the original autistic syndrome, which was an Asperger-like syndrome, so I functional autism, but I still had, undeveloped muscles. I used to be like that. And I had very much trouble in coordinating my body, especially when doing sports or where the blood was pumping hard. I sometimes could not move my limbs, my legs. Sometimes I remained stuck. For example, playing football or even sometimes even walking. It was hard. And all the psychological aspects, of course, I could not concentrate a bit. I was lucky because I was good in school without studying. It is a gift, but apart from that, I could not concentrate, and in the end, I failed my classes later in life because I really wasn't able to do anything like concentrating. So after that, in my teens, I had serious troubles with recreational drug abuse, and in particular, I'm talking about crack, cocaine, and I was so addicted. I used to smoke a lot of crack, and I managed to stop altogether, just alone by myself. All my friends that were smoking crack with me, none of them stopped by themselves. I mean, mainly they are still smoking, and some of them did stop with staying many years, in the communities, etc., etc. Some of them went to jail. Well, you know the stories, no? But I managed to stop them, to stop it. And from that, I went into a serious depression problem. My father and also other family members got problems in that field, and what I think is that your family is not going to give you some illnesses in inheritance. They are going to give you just some predisposition. That is a very much different stories. I mean, I have not seen a single evidence about the genetic. There are the scientific researchers saying that there are some mutagenic genes that are actually passing you the illnesses, but I don't see any real evidence of that. I see just some evidence of probability. It is very much likely, in my opinion, that these genes just gives you some predisposition. And I say to you that every organism has some weakness, some weak point. Some has some weak pancreas, and some has some weak intestine. And when your body is not functioning, when some organs is not functioning, that does not mean that the problem is located into that single organ. Our bodies are not like machine. It's not like that if a part is broken, then it ceases to function. It's not like that. We have evolved in millennia, in millions of years, facing harsh conditions. So it would be very stupid for our bodies to stop functioning if just one part is not very well. The body always tries to find a way to heal that part. So if a part is not functioning, then be sure then that the problem is systemic. And with systemic, I mean that we have two major problems. This is because I say to you about hair testing, One problem is the buildup of toxins in the soft tissues. It's not something that you can see by blood work. And the other is the lack of vital minerals in particular and vitamins in general, nutrients in general. Well, if you mix up these two problems, then you got a really messed up biochemistry, a messed up metabolism, because your organs will be congested, will be calcified. It's not something that you can see on normal tests. For example, the phenomenon of calcification. Nowadays in the allopathic medicine is just, they recognize the phenomenon in particular with the arteries and with the circulatory system, and also when you have kidney stones, these are considered calcification. But actually there was a scientist, his name was Selye, that wrote a book that name is Calcyphylaxis. I think that this is the right name. I will put it in the description, of course. And in this book, he kind of demonstrates that the calcification of the body is a much more broad phenomenon, but not seen in medical tests. Why? Because medical tests, diagnoses, are there to find a diagnosis. A diagnosis means a seeable, watchable, observable, and measurable symptom. So it's not concerned with general rustiness of the body. So if your organs are calcified, you are going to build up lots of toxins. Things are not going to work smoothly. And how we can see that with hair testing. So getting back to my story, after I went into major depression problems that also many of my relatives got. And when I say many of my relatives got, I mean that many of them, I'm not saying who, but many of them still take antidepressant drugs. I did not take any. I then succeeded in getting out of it by and by, slow and slow, and then it happened that my pancreas stopped to work. So I began to shrink down, and this was the period where I stumbled upon mineral balancing, which is the thing that gave me the results. So actually, what happens is that our bodies are not designed, did not evolve to face this amount of toxins, this enormous, tremendous amount of toxins. And toxins, we have data. I'm not going to tell you here the data. I'm going to tell you the data, but I'm going to put references in the description. Toxins nowadays, in particular in the air and in the water, are 1 to 1,000 if we regard at natural times like 100 years ago. These things have been studied by a great nutritionist named Hans Schroeder. So for one toxin that we find in the natural world, nowadays we have to face with 999 more toxins. It is an enormous amount of toxins. And natural medicine, nor Ayurveda, nor traditional tribal medicine did not have to face this. It's like you are trying, if you are using just natural medicine, to stop a train with a broom, you know? Since the end of the Second World War, I won't say names, but there have been some societies that made some agricultural revolution, yay! And began to take out the normal pesticides that we have been used since millennia, like donkey pea, etc., and began to say, oh well, just take this, non-toxic pesticides. And then, the pesticides have been found. This happened in the 50s and 60s, and then those pesticides have been found to feminize the hormonal system of the body and inflaming the body. They, apart from pesticides, they have been using fertilizers that were so poor in nutrition. The natural fertilizer that we have to that we use contain 50 different minerals or nutrients, like minerals and other stuff, and those fertilizers just had 4, which were phosphorus, potassium. I don't recall the name in English, but actually they are known as superphosphate fertilizer. So just 4 fertilizer is not what a plant requires in order to grow healthy and give you the nutrition. Meanwhile, they began to give, GMO seeds, etc., all these beautiful things. And the Department of Agriculture of the United States, in 2019 year after Christ, released a study in which they were being collecting data, I think from all over the world, from what I can recall, and they have seen that the soil in the world is so depleted. In some rare areas of the world, we have 1/4 of the nutrients, and in many areas we have 1/10 of nutrients. This is not, a small thing. Those nutrients are there to make things work smooth. I will say to make things work altogether, and also to protect you from toxins. So just think about your body that lacks the defenses, and meanwhile is going to face not just normal waves, but some what is the name? Like those gigantic waves. So it is a mess, right? How can you deal with that? You cannot deal with that with natural medicine. Nowadays, we have to first go into your cells, into your very cell, and try and see where the biochemistry is messed up. And how can we see that? With hair analysis. And this is the science of mineral balancing, which was a science that began in the 60s and then began to be used very much in the 70s by a great scientist, a chemist named Paul Eck, which passed away in the 90s. And I am one of his students in his lineage, not of course a direct student. The hair analysis nowadays are used. I mean, I speak with many people, both practitioner, medical doctors and clients, that say to me, well, yeah, I use it. And some of them say, well, I use it, but yeah, not much toxic metals were shown. Well, that's the whole point. Have your hair tested is the easy part. Then you have to have it interpreted. And if you did not study the exact science of mineral balancing, of how to interpret the hair analysis, they are going to be useless. This is the point. They are going to be like, many medical doctors or even holistic practitioner. They are going to use it as they use the blood work. It is not like that. It is not like that at all. Blood work just gives you some informations of your blood, and like Paul Eck used to say, the blood is maintained at the expenses of the tissues. Why? Because the blood is so it means that if something is lacking in your body, then your body will try to do everything to make this thing that is lacking not to lack in the blood. And in order to do that, it will go and take nutrients from the tissues, from your soft tissues, and in order to take the blood stable, because the blood is so important for the body. And so, but that also means that if something is shown in your blood, does not mean that your body has it. You can have deficiencies, even if it is not shown in your blood work. So, this is the reason why testing the soft tissues, and in particular the discharge soft tissues like the ears, are very important. But you have to know how to interpret it. And Paul Eck did a smart move, in my opinion, and did not publish his studies because he knew that you need to go and work with someone who take the time to study it. And my experience with my healing and the healing of my guardians of balance is that as soon as we begin to fix the biochemistry inside the cells, that they come to me and say, wow, for the first time in my life, the fermented foods that I have been using since 10 years are giving me good effects, finally. And I say to them, well, why? Well, because in the past, there was, when all was natural, there were no reasons to go and fix your biochemistry inside your cell first. The biochemistry in the cells, in the main parts, the main majority, I would say, of the cells were stable. Even if so let's go back to the data of the Department of Agriculture, shall we? If we have 1/10 of the nutrients, it means that micronutrients wise, your one meal in the past would have been the equivalent of 10 meals today. So it also means that if one person ate one meal every 2 days or even every 3 days, still this person would have much more nutrients from that single meal that you have from 3 meals, let's take, a day. So in order for you to have the power of that one single meal, you should have 10 meals. And I'm not saying that people that ate just once every 3 days were healthy. But think about people that ate once every day. They were having like 10 meals, 10 actual meals. So these are very important because the micronutrients are the fuel of your body. I mean, they are not the macronutrients that builds, proteins are there for building the tissues, etc., etc. Fats are there to build other tissues, hormones, etc., etc. But all the enzymes, all the reactions, all the enzymatic reactions are driven in particular by minerals, but by micronutrients in general. So you are not using your macronutrients if you do not have micronutrients. And we are so depleted. And then other things happen. For example, magnesium is used for like every single one enzymatic reaction, but when you lack magnesium, which is a common situation that you cannot see on blood work, then your body can utilize, for example, lead or sometimes even cadmium in order to replace the magnesium for that specific enzymatic reaction. And why? Because your body is smart and it's trying to use what he finds. If you are lost in a wood and you don't find anything to eat, well, you will have to, grab some grass here and there, cook them, and then try to eat. And then, you can survive. You can kill some animals here and there, eat some insects, but it's not, the best nutrition. The best nutrition would be that one, in my opinion, the one of the tribal people, that go and hunt bigger animals, that go and select their grasses, etc., etc. So the point is that also on a microscopic level, your body is trying to utilize what it finds. But this is going to give you some really painful enzymatic reaction, some inflammatory enzymatic reaction, some not so powerful enzymatic reaction. So this is a huge mess because your body is trying to maintain homeostasis. Most of the time, these toxic metals have entered into our bodies when we were in the womb of our mother. So actually our bodies kind of built a homeostasis between your body and those toxins, and your body tries to maintain the homeostasis. So even if you are taking even if you're taking 10 meals a day, which is crazy, of course, then unless we are speaking about micro meal, of course, but I'm speaking about full meals, 10 full meals a day, even in that case, does not mean that your body is going to utilize that nutrients, because first you will have to convince your body to drop that homeostasis with the toxins. It is a great work. In fact, I use 4 means, which are, first things first, not the diet, but the dieting. It is a way of crafting your own diet for your own body, for this specific period of time. It is very difficult, but we can manage through it. Then the second is supplementation. I use some very, very bioavailable and good quality supplements, but that are not just general. I don't believe in one size fits all. First, I will have to test your hairs. Then, for example, when I have your hair tested, if you are reading, I got a client, a guardian of balance that now she is a friend of mine, a great friend of mine. And when I met her at the phone for the first time, she told me, well, I got my hair tested. And I said, oh, well, many people are. In which lab? And she said to me, oh, in this lab. And the fate wanted that she used the exact lab that I used, which is very far from Italy. And I said, oh, wow, that's crazy. And I said to her, why? I thought that I was the single one mineral balancing practitioner in Italy. This lab is used mainly by mineral balancing practitioners. And she said to me, a doctor, a very important doctor, said to me, have your hair tested there? And then I said, oh wow, that's great, that's awesome. And then what did he say to you? Nothing. He said, oh well, okay, that's a test. Then you can read it on yourself. And I was like cringing inside like this, like, oh yeah, great. But I was screaming, internal screaming. And the point is not like that. I mean, if you are many of holistic practitioners or medical doctors, or maybe you, can just read it like you read the blood work, and so if you see, for example, magnesium that is up to the roof, you say, oh well, I have too much magnesium. It's not like that. Sometimes when magnesium is through the roof, you have non-magnesium. It just means that your body is trying to dump magnesium out of your body. How do we know it? You cannot know it, of course. I have taken 2 years to study mineral balancing. I was studying this science as an amateur since 4 years before. So you will have to make some mathematical calculations sometimes, but you have to compare all the levels of all the minerals. We test for many minerals. I think there are, I didn't count them to be honest, but I think there are more than 20 between vital minerals, vital nutrients, toxic metals, etc., etc. And sometimes if you have tested your hair and mercury did not show anything, did not show, not sometimes, many of the times, toxic metals are not going to be shown in the first hair test. You will have to take time and give your body the energy to craft the quote-unquote adaptive energy, like Selye used to call it, in order for your body to begin to dump out these toxins. Only when your body is healthy will begin to dump out the toxins, and the toxins will be shown in the hair. This is the same rationale, the same ratio we can find in the symptoms. There is this myth for which, if I do not fall ill, like never, so I am so healthy. No, it's not like that. In the toxic world, like the world of today, we have to fall ill, but we have also to be energetic, to be focused, to be happy, to have a vision. But in order for your body to detox, headaches that are brief episodes, short episodes of fever, short episodes of maybe diarrhea are normal. If you don't have it, well, guess what? It's just that your body does not have energies and is like storing all those toxins inside, and then you are going to decline, and then you're going to get some autoimmune disease, or even worse. So let's try and fix that. We can reverse this process if we look that deep down into the cells. I have been dealing with clients, even with 2 clients, with 2 guardians that has cancer. So, but also fibromyalgia. I'm not specialized in cancer, and for the most time, mineral balancing, the science is not suited very well for cancer people, because cancer is really a quick degenerative condition. But in the past, mineral balancing practitioners have been healing people from cancer. So yeah, I mean, it can be a tremendous means to help for cancer healing, to help. Point is that you need to have a good microscope. You would need today a much more powerful and adapted for the modern times method that is more centered on the problematics, on the problems on the health problems that people are having in nowadays world, which are very different from ancient world. Always with a non-toxic approach, and always respecting the natural healing mechanism of the body, not forcing the body, like, chelation therapy is very hell. I mean, I have spoken to many people that say, well, I felt very well, but after 6 months I got impotent, for example. So it is a different matter. This is a real healing, and be mindful that you will find many trends in the healing community, in particular in the international healing community, like, there was the mega doses of vitamin C, and then after that it has been declined. Why? Because people have begun to take for whole their lives vitamin C mega doses, and when they stop they feel awful, because vitamin C are going to deplete your sodium levels. So everything that you take should be very well crafted for your specific needs. And the reason why you are not connecting with the sky anymore, like you don't have a vision, you don't have a purpose, you are carrying your life, carrying yourself during the day, you are just not succeeding in living life, you are just succeeding in, surviving. We are not meant for survival, we are meant for creativity. So the reason is that you need a much more powerful approach to the modern problematics of the world. And my programs are divided into 3 categories. The first category is the entrance level, which is called basic healing, which comprise only the physical aspect. So at the center of this, there is the mineral balancing science with hair analysis that have to be done every 4 months or 6 months. And with that, I give you all the knowledge I have about natural medicine, which is in particular the food that they use in tribal groups. Of course, if you want to, this is not a must. This program, all of my programs need to be, in tune with your life. If you are the health junkie that likes very much to be disciplined and do everything perfect, then it's fine. If you are a person that takes things more slowly, it's fine too. It's going to work. We are going to make it work. And you need my help, because you will, when you're facing deep healing, which is not just symptomatic healing, you are going to be very much energetic, but you are going to face some old traumas. Physical traumas like, headaches or fevers, etc., but also emotional traumas. And we are going to enter into the second level, which is the ultimate healing, which is the level in which I teach you also my experience in meditation, which I meditate since 12 years, since I stopped to take drugs, to take crack cocaine. And meditation is so important, but my experience with many meditators is that their meditation are not healing their bodies. How is that so? Many Zen masters nowadays says, well, meditation can help you to ease the chronic pain and to not suffer anymore from chronic pain. They are not going to heal you from chronic pain. How is that so? If you read the ancient textbooks, they are saying the opposite. Meditation will heal you. The problem is that meditation is very essential and important, but it needs to be mixed together with biochemistry rebalancing nowadays, because we first will have to bring your body to a more natural state. In the past, when our bodies were natural, our world, our food, our hair were all natural, then meditation would be the great key. Nowadays it's very important. Many of my clients, they are having, for example, some anxiety disorder from the program, and they're saying, well, everything's okay, but I got some anxiety. Well, I say to them, just upgrade to the second level, try meditation. They try, and then they understand that those anxiety were just ancient traumas that were coming up from the unconscious. And now the body gave them the energy to deal with them once and for all. And it's very beautiful. And then the third program is called the Subliminal Edge. I delight since 7 years to craft subliminal messages. I use them in a very smart way. So until we get to your potential, to your full potential, we really need to make some steps. So it can take time. But meanwhile, we can use subliminal messages to manage the path. So if you need to be productive, we can, for example, we can by and by with subliminal messages teach your mind to become productive in small things until we find the right energy for you from your body. So it is all connected. Again, with subliminal messages, you are going to we can some people in particular, we are born like ill, they cling, they they cannot let go their illnesses, the illness kind of become one with them. So with subliminal messages we can teach your body, your subconscious, to let go the illnesses, to don't cling to illness, and to find and search for health. We can do a lot of things. So all that is mixed together on the ultimate program. The entry level is where you will begin to start and see good results, but then if you want to, I can take you into the journey of discovering yourself. With meditation, I mean, I do not have a teacher. I have been trying mindfulness, prayerfulness, and many other kinds, also tantra, many kinds of meditation. And I can say to you that it is a very difficult path for you to understand the meditation that works for you. This is where I am helping. I'm not just helping teaching you mindfulness, I am helping teaching you what kind of meditation can you benefit from. So this is what I propose to you, and then I can say to you, well, just let's go down here, click on the link on the page. The name of the page is in Italian, but don't worry, I will promise you that the page itself is in English, and there you will find a link to a quiz. Also, you can read the informations in the page. Of course, there are also the prices, etc., but there is a link to a quiz where you can, for the first time, begin to make sense of your symptoms that everybody is telling you, well, we cannot do anything, or, well, it's just in your head. And then, after that quiz, there is a link to Calendly, where we can take an appointment. We can book an appointment, and a free appointment, and make sense of your symptoms, and I can show you how you can reconnect them to to the biochemical imbalances in general. So please, let's go and let's have this conversation together. Give yourself this gift of 30 minutes, and I salute you, thank you for having watched this video, and let your cells be filled with bliss and gratitude until your last days.